Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your host John, and today here on the channel we're going to be counting down the top 10 4K Blu-ray releases of 2025 so far. I usually try and get this list out, at the first week of July, but it was a little bit busier this year, so got bumped up to the second week of July. And this is only going to be for the releases that came out between January 1st and the end of June. So the first half of the year is what we're going to be counting down today. We'll have the full list at the very end of the year, and there's a lot on the horizon for the second half of 2025. So this list probably will change a lot, but some of the stuff will definitely make the top 10 of 2025 overall. And the way I make my list is I like to make it real nice cosmic gumbo when I'm constructing these. So I like to take everything and put it in a blender. The quality of the actual disc itself, audio, visuals, extras, the packaging, and of course the quality of the film. That plays a big part for me. If I don't like the movie, I'm not going to get the 4K Blu-ray, and it's going to be harder for me to give the 4K Blu-ray a higher grade if I'm never going to run back to revisit it. So that's how I make my top 10 list, and I'm not going to waste any more of your time, guys. I'm going to dive right into it with number 10. And at number 10, I have Jackie Brown, which came out from Lionsgate on 4K Blu-ray earlier this year. Quentin Tarantino is my favorite director of all time, and we were going to get this and the Kill Bills. A few years ago, Lionsgate got the rights to Jackie Brown and the two Kill Bill films, and they released some Blu-ray steelbooks a couple of years ago, with the rumor being we were going to get the 4Ks sometime down the line. That happened earlier this year, and unfortunately, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 are not that great, but luckily for us, Jackie Brown is a great 4K Blu-ray release. The best this film has ever looked. It came out with a steelbook as well if you wanted to grab that. Lionsgate does some great steelbooks. I just opted for the standard edition with the slipcover, and I was more than happy with it. Is this a perfect release? No, there's a reason why it's number 10, but I do think in comparison to what we got with Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, where you could have just probably hung on to those Blu-rays, Jackie Brown is actually a 4K Blu-ray you should upgrade to, as long as you like the film Jackie Brown. In my opinion, it is one of Quentin Tarantino's best films. I can highly recommend the movie. It's Pam Grier's best film. It's one of Samuel L. Jackson's best films, and it's a great hangout movie. It's one you should check out. A lot of people pass by this one and go right from Pulp Fiction to the Kill Bills to Django to Inglourious Bastards, all those kinds of movies, and they just pass by Jackie Brown. And it's a real shame because it's a fantastic film with a really good 4K. And at number 9, another 4K Blu-ray that we were waiting a very long time for, because this got delayed, I believe, for over a year. It was announced, we got this really cool What's in the Box edition announced, and then all of that got canceled. David Fincher himself was going to get involved in the packaging and in making sure that this transfer looked as beautiful as it possibly could. And before the year started, I said this might be the year of Fincher, because we got this, Panic Room, and Zodiac on 4K Blu-ray, and all the varying levels of quality. Obviously, I think 7 was the best of them. Zodiac was really a bad 4K Blu-ray upgrade, and Panic Room was right in the middle. I think some people were really a little too harsh on Panic Room. It's definitely a noticeable upgrade. We waited a long time for that 4K Blu-ray. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Now, 7 is the best of them, and again, this one's not perfect either, because the packaging for this, it's just not great, unfortunately. It looks really nice, but trying to get the disc out, well, that's going to be a war for you, because for some reason it's like in there magnetically, so yeah, you feel like you're going to break the disc, and I really didn't appreciate that about it. Really cool design though. I really like what they did with it. Just a slight little failure there, which I guess, kind of got past quality control. Not too sure why. Some people weren't happy with like the added stuff into it. We added some CGI stuff after the fact. A lot of like when, George Lucas did with the special editions, but I don't think it's as noticeable. It's not noticeable to the point where it's like, why did you even do that, David Fincher? But either way, or I don't think it hurts the film at all. This is the best the movie has ever looked. I can definitely recommend it. Again, not a perfect 4K Blu-ray release, but definitely the best of the David Fincher films we've gotten on 4K Blu-ray. It's either this or The Social Network, but I'm really glad we got 7. It is one of my favorite films of the 1990s. It's still my favorite David Fincher film, so even if the 4K Blu-ray upgrade isn't perfect, it's still really, really good. Next up, Arrow Video's release of Cruising on 4K Blu-ray. This is a movie I never could have imagined coming to 4K Blu-ray. It's actually one of 2 William Friedkin movies that made my list. This is one that I think a lot of people forget that William Friedkin even made. It's one of my personal favorites. The subject matter can be a little bit dark. Al Pacino's going undercover in the gay nightclub scene, the leather scene, and he's trying to find a serial killer. The only thing with the movie is, it doesn't give you all the answers. You got to do a lot of work, but, the great gritty nature of, late 1970s New York just shines so well in this film. Al Pacino gives another great committed performance, as he always does. And Arrow Video really sprung for all the bells and whistles with this. Give us a Arrow Video obese box right here. This kind of feels like leather. Obviously, it's not leather, but what they were going for with the design of this, I absolutely love it. Some of my favorite packaging of 2025. Anytime Arrow Video gives us the morbidly obese box, it's going to be a quality release, and they've been killing it with extras and the transfer as far as the visual and audio quality go. This is just one where I know that people probably don't love the film that much, but if I can get out here and tell you guys how good Cruising is, give it a shot. I really think it's one you'll love. And then, of course, this 4K Blu-ray is fantastic, so I can definitely recommend the film and the 4K Blu-ray release from Arrow Video. Next up at number 7, just your standard Warner Brothers 4K Blu-ray release. Another Warner Brothers release. When Warner Brothers wants to, they can give us some of the best releases out there. And this is one where Constantine, this was a good-looking film to begin with. I always remember saying that when this got a 4K Blu-ray upgrade, it would transfer fantastically. And sure enough, it absolutely did. This movie's now 20 years old, starring Keanu Reeves. I remember when this movie came out, I didn't think it was a hit. It did make some money, but people really forgot about Constantine. It's one of Keanu Reeves' forgotten movies. It's a noir spiritual horror comic book film, very unique. The Constantine character, very stylistic film, has lent itself so well to the 4K Blu-ray format. Now this is, one that maybe people think, it's a standard Warner Bros. Release. It's not that great. They even got us new extras where Keanu Reeves and the director sat down, talked about the film, talked about the making of the movie. Everything I could ever ask for. And I really appreciate them giving us this, giving us a beautiful transfer. Warner Brothers gave us some beautiful transfers so far in 2025. They're right up there with Arrow Video as far as having some of the best transfers, and from what I understand, they use the same studio to finish off their 4K Blu-rays. I want to say it's Fidelity and Motion off the top of my head. I could be wrong, but it really does show in the results because this is an incredible release. Not to mention Warner Brothers with their audio has been fantastic since the end of 2024 as well. So you got to give credit where credit's due, and Constantine's a great 4K Blu-ray release for 2025. Next up at number 6, I had to pick one from the Dollars Trilogy on 4K Blu-ray, and unfortunately, we were supposed to have the good, the bad, and the ugly out before July rolled around, but it's not coming out till August 11th, so I had to go with my gut and pick what did I think of the first 2 Arrow releases for A Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More. Well, I'm going to give the slight edge to For a Few Dollars More. I really enjoyed my watch through this time around. Love seeing Lee Van Cleef. The quality of the visuals and audio are very similar in the 2 releases. Can't really deny that. It's really going to come down to how do you feel about the film. So I just gave the slight edge to what I thought was the better film. At the time, I think I felt like A Few Dollars More was the better film, but the more I've slept on it, I've really learned to appreciate For a Few Dollars More. It's like the forgotten middle child of the Dollars Trilogy. And that's really a shame, and I was one of those people that kind of glossed over it as well. It's I really like A Fistful of Dollars, and I really like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but I never really gave much attention to For a Few Dollars More, and that's on me because it's a fantastic film, and Arrow Video knocked it out of the park with both the first 2 releases of the Dollars Trilogy. We'll have to wait and see how The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is, but if it lives up to the quality of the first 2 releases, it's going to be a great 4K. And cracking the top 5, I promised you another William Friedkin release, and this is actually my only Criterion release on the list. Criterion is my favorite boutique label. I mean, Arrow Video might have passed them, but I still love Criterion. They just released so many films that I absolutely love. Criterion are the people who brought us the little film called Sorcerer on 4K Blu-ray. A movie released 1 month after Star Wars hit theaters, and it just got buried. It never had a shot. But, people have come around and realized that this is not only one of William Friedkin's best films, it might be his best film. Now, I can't put it higher than The Exorcist. Now, The French Connection, maybe it passes that because I really do believe this movie is a masterpiece. I mean, William Friedkin gave us so many movies that I absolutely love. To Live and Die in LA is another one of his great films that also has a great 4K Blu-ray release. I just talked about Cruising. Well, you come over here and you got Sorcerer on 4K Blu-ray. This is one where it's just what will you do to survive? What is worth it to get your life back? So many things that it's trying to tackle. Then the 4K Blu-ray is great. Like I said, the color timing looked a little different than I remembered, but that doesn't mean it's not a very quality 4K Blu-ray release when it comes to the visuals and audio. I've never seen the movie in this high quality, so this could be the correct color timing, and I've always just seen it the wrong way. It's very possible. I'm definitely not going to rule that out. It just looked a little different than I remembered, especially in the third act. And then, of course, it's got great extras. I told you guys guys, I'm a big fan of the big picture. I'm a big fan of, the rewatchable Sean Fantasy, A Fellow Long Islander. Well, he sits down and does an interview with James Gray, the director, on here as well. Thought that was fucking awesome. And I just really enjoyed this 4K Blu-ray overall. I mean, it's the best Criterion of 2025 so far. Barry Lyndon came out after July 1st, so it couldn't qualify for this list, but we'll talk more about that on a later date. Actually, probably later this week, so you guys can get my full review on that. But Sorcerer, fantastic 4K. Definitely pick this one up. Next up, another Warner Brothers release, and this one's for Amadeus. Not only is the 4K Blu-ray for Amadeus the best picture winner from the 1980s, I want to say 1984 if I'm correct off the top of my head. I could be wrong on that. It feels like 1984. Obviously, Amadeus, if it did come out in 1984, isn't the best picture that year. That would be the Terminator. But either way, or Amadeus, a beautiful, beautiful looking film. Just great costume design, great production design. We're exploring Salieri and Mozart and their rivalry. Obviously, not a real rivalry. That's kind of, this movie taking the liberties, but that's what makes this movie feel so special. Tom Holtz is incredible in this. F. Murray Abraham is incredible in this. This is rising up my list of my favorite films, actually. And a lot of that is because of the theatrical cut. They're promoting this as the theatrical cut for a reason. On Blu-ray, we only had the director's cut. That was it. I hate it when studios do that. They did that for, movies like Dumb and Dumber. Makes no sense. Friday, same thing. They're locked in on the director's cut, so you don't even have the theatrical cut as an option. Now, they did the reverse of this, and I have to kind of call them out a little bit because people do like the director's cut of Amadeus. I don't, but I'm not the only person in the world, so I know some people who do like the director's cut, and it would have been cool if they would have included that on here for those people, even if it's just like 10 or 20 people, which obviously it's way more than that. It's just that it would have been nice because those people do appreciate it. Like Arrow Video, for example, with Mallrats. Most people fucking hate the Mallrats director's cut. I am one of those people, but they gave it to us on 4K Blu-ray for the people who do like it. Just give the options. It doesn't have to be for the majority. Sometimes you can give it for the minority, make them happy as well. It doesn't seem like it would have been that difficult, but we didn't get that here, and I'm obviously very happy. It's my number 4 of the year so far, and that's because, again, we got the theatrical cut, and this is a fantastic upgrade from Warner Brothers. You could get a steelbook as well. I actually really like the slipcover. I'm just, I'm a fan of the colors on it. Great artwork, in my opinion. And Warner Brothers, you got to call them out and give them some credit for that because usually they give us some really bad artwork. And at number 3, now I only have the standard edition for this, but there is a beautiful collector's edition from Second Sight, who always gives us beautiful looking collector's editions. I just need to save a little bit of money, so I just got the regular standard edition, which looks pretty cheap, but you know what? It's a 1-disc set. That's all I really needed with this one, is to have that disc in there. And we got an upgrade from Warner Brothers this year as well for The Nice Guys. Now that version is just a 2K upgrade, whereas this is a brand new scan of the camera negative, and I think that's why it looks as incredible as it does. This for me is the best visuals of 2025. That's a big reason why I have it at number 3, but also the extras are fantastic. I don't have the Second Sight collector's edition, but I can imagine it's probably great quality. I've always gotten these standard editions from Second Sight, except for Dawn of the Dead, and you know what? I'm very happy with them. Yeah, like I said, feels very loose and flimsy, but that's fine because, again, that disc is so great. The Nice Guys has never looked this good. It's a very colorful movie to begin with, and now you upgrade it to 4K Blu-ray. Yeah, this is like what 4K is made for, is for things like this. It's just your jaw's gonna hit the floor with the visuals for this one. Now, I know not everybody is a fan of The Nice Guys, which is really a shame because I think this is one of the most underrated films of the 2010s. One of the best dark comedies you'll ever see. Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe have great chemistry. Kim Basinger pops up in this movie. A young Margaret Qualley. It's just a great movie, and I think if you give it a shot, you'll really enjoy it. And not to mention, again, this 4K Blu-ray is fantastic. Don't get confused with the Warner Brothers 4K Blu-ray. Warner Brothers, I just praised them with Amadeus, but when they want to, they'll throw out just a really cheap 4K Blu-ray and like, let's just get it out there. That came out the same week as like Judas and the Black Messiah, which is exactly in the same way. A lot of their releases for Steven Soderbergh films, they kind of just feel like, hey, let's get this 4K out there. They don't really put much effort into it. So there's always two sides to Warner Brothers. A lot of the studios have that. Paramount can put out a good 4K if they want to, but they could also put out a dog shit 4K. It's just how it works. It's the name of the game, but just remember the Second Sight 4K for The Nice Guy. And at number 2, I have Pale Rider. And I was just between all of the Clint Eastwood 4K Blu-rays. I wanted to just pick one, really, narrow it down to just one of those 4K Blu-rays for Clint Eastwood that we got on the same day in all beautiful 4K steelbooks. We got Dirty Harry, The Outlaw Josie Wells, and Pale Rider. Now, I think I enjoyed Dirty Harry the most this time around. Of course I did. It's Dirty Harry. But I really enjoyed Pale Rider also. I really had a fantastic time with this. And this movie on 4K Blu-ray, one of the best looking of the year. If The Nice Guys is number 1, Pale Rider for me is number 2 when it comes to the visuals. And like I said, Warner Brothers gave us everything we could have hoped for on this 4K Blu-ray release. They did not half-ass the Clint Eastwood 4K Blu-ray releases. Every extra you could ever imagine just about Clint Eastwood, like documentaries on Clint Eastwood, are spread out between those 3 4Ks. Maybe I should have included all 3 because they do just kind of feel like companion pieces to each other. It's just the extras are so good, and as an extras junkie, I absolutely love them. The visuals and the audio are incredible, giving us brand new Dolby Atmos tracks while also giving us the original audio, so you can, you check every single box. That's what I'm talking about. Give us the options. You couldn't do it necessarily with Amadeus, but you really did it here with Pale Rider, Dirty Harry, and the Outlaw Josie Wells. I think that Warner Brothers definitely has some of the best releases of 2025 with those Clint Eastwood 4K Blu-ray releases. That kind of is their standard now. Last year they gave us The Searchers at the very end of the year on 4K Blu-ray. That's one of the best 4Ks of 2025. Actually, that's one of 2024, and actually that's one of the best 4K Blu-ray releases ever. So Warner Brothers has been really riding high with their visual and audio quality, and I really appreciate it. I think that they hit a grand slam when it comes to Pale Rider. And now for number 1, I have Dark City from Arrow Video on 4K Blu-ray. This just checks every single box. Is it a 10 out of 10 in every single category? No. I think the visuals, obviously, I don't think are the best so far 2025. I put it in the top 5, but I wouldn't say it's number 1. But you get the total package here. I mean, like, obviously, you get an Arrow Video obese box right here. All the artwork is fantastic. Everything you could ever hope for when it comes to the artwork. Everything you could ever hope for on the inside. You get a poster. You get both the theatrical and the director's cut on 4K Blu-ray. They put that director's cut on the first disc because they know that's the version you like. And like I was talking about with Amadeus, you know what? They gave us both versions on 4K Blu-ray, the director's cut and the theatrical cut. Even though the theatrical cut isn't that loved, mainly because we open on narration from Kiefer Sutherland, basically spoiling the entire movie, taking away all of that mystery, which does kind of hurt it. So I always say go for that director's cut. But either way, you get brand new extras, a brand new looking back documentary, which is something I always ask for on 4K Blu-ray releases, and we very rarely get it. But we got a brand new documentary on here, and we also have an old making of. Then we have new interviews. I mean, the extras are spread out between both discs, which is incredible. They really gave us everything we could have ever hoped for. They spread the extras out between all the discs. That's all we could ever ask for a film like Dark City, which is, a cult classic at this point. And I'm hoping that this 4K Blu-ray release really does raise more awareness for the film, because it's a fantastic film. I can definitely highly recommend it, even if you can't get this 4K Blu-ray, which I've heard since the 4K Blu-ray came out that they jacked up the price to like $60 on Amazon, mainly because they went out of print when, the collector's edition. But if you can't get the collector's edition with the nice packaging, the discs on the inside are still really good. And if you get a standard edition, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I mean, I have some standard editions from Arrow Video where I missed out on the fact boxes, and, it kind of sucks, but it's not necessarily about the packaging. It's about the quality of the disc, and Dark City is absolutely quality when it comes to those 4K Blu-ray discs. I love it. It's one of my favorite releases in a very long time, and it's absolutely my favorite release of 2025 so far. I just want to give a quick shout out to 2 collections that came out this year before I get out of here. The first being Blaxploitation Classics Volume 1. Volume 2 actually comes out next month. I'm hoping I can grab it on 4K. It's really going to come down to how the funds are, but I absolutely loved Volume 1. Got so many. The fact that I have Coffee on 4K Blu-ray now is something that I never expected. And, we get Foxy Brown next month, so we're getting a ton of them. Obviously, Across 110th Street is a great 4K Blu-ray, just one of the best of the year in general as well. Didn't crack the top 10, but I have to call out this entire collection for being fantastic. And another one of my personal favorites of the year is the Sean Connery 4K Blu-ray Steelbook collection. This will be one of my favorite pieces just because of, you get the Steelbook housing, you get all 6 individual Steelbooks in there. It just makes me hope that we get the rest of the James Bond films in this exact same kind of packaging. I don't know what they're going to do with George Lazenby's 1 film or Timothy Dalton's 2 films, but hey, either way, or maybe put them together in one Steelbook housing. I don't know, but I'm just really glad that we got this Sean Connery 6-film collection in beautiful 4K with these Steelbooks. It's all I could ever hope for when it comes to James Bond, is that we upgrade like this, really give something to the fans. Now, I don't think the standard edition has great artwork. That's classic WB, just shitty artwork, but I think that if you get these 4K Steelbooks, you'll be very, very happy. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it here for me on another episode of Let's Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed this show, and if you did, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share this video if you could. We also have channel membership, so if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel like Ben Rondo and John Doe Juggalo, you can do that. Or you can even become a channel director like Uncle V, Stone Gasman, Kevin Kruger, Frank from Frank's Media Reviews, and Nicholas Head. Or you can even bump it up to the channel bankroll member like Mr. Smelly Potato. But of course, guys, if you have no money to throw my way, don't worry about it. I just hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.